Well, the good news is I'm back to gigging. And that feels so great after a long break from the pandemic. The bad news is I'm back to gigging, and the stuff that I thought was going to really benefit me in my practice studio didn't necessarily translate to the gig world. So I've got a few things that I've been rapping on that I'd like to talk to you about for you when you start getting back into your gig and deep rehearsal world post the pandemic. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, it's Trent Austin from Austin Custom Brass. Thank you so much for your amazing support of the shop. We can't do it without you, and these mini lessons are a little gift from the shop to you as part of our thanks. So while you're here, hit that subscribe button and stay up to date with us. We cannot do it without you. So I had a couple gigs this weekend, which feels great. Kansas City, when I moved here in mid 2018, I knew Kansas City was a hotbed of performing activity. And, I got pretty, it took a while, but I got established. And then the pandemic hit, lost all of our gigs. We all did, of course. Now that hopefully we're on the other side of this pandemic. Gigs are coming back. So I had a trio gig, and then I had a gig this weekend playing lead trumpet. The trio gig actually was fine. That seems like it was some of the stuff that I was doing in my practice room, and I've been practicing a fair amount, working on new projects, and keeping the trumpet at least a little honest with myself. But the big band gig, I felt like it was a train wreck. It was fine. We survived. But the thing about it, it was very enlightening to realize that the chops that you can be working on in the practice room aren't necessarily the chops that you're working on when you're performing. And here's some things that I want to talk about. So the first thing I noticed is that the intonation of the band was just awful. And these are really great professional players. But none of us have really played in a big band situation. So the work we've done in the practice room, maybe with tuners and really getting into the center of our sounds, needs to be highlighted. So for me, it was grabbing that tonal energy tuner and having that smiley face in my practice room, which I practice in I call it my fort in this area here at the show, in my home studio. It's very enlightening. So making sure, and I'll adjust the mic here, that you're doing things to get you into the center of your sound. For instance, doing bends, and I have a few mini lessons on the bends. You should check those out for sure. So like something like this. I'm trying to find the center of my sound. And when I actually got done that, and I'm not sure you'll be able to hear this on this mic, on this camera, that it actually the sound of the room resonated a little bit. So trying to play in that resonant space. That's really important when you're in a situation with 15 other players. We've got a lot of other things we're dealing with. We're reading music. We're in a different acoustic environment. We're, playing with other musicians that we're not maybe accustomed to, especially after 14 months off. One thing that you really want to do in your practice room now to get yourself ready for the gigs is do some sort of strength exercise. Now, it can be Caruso. I've got a nice lesson on Caruso. If you just reach out and there'll be a clickable link in the top here. Something like that. Or the Schilke power exercises. Just Google Schilke power exercise and it will show you. It's just a series of half steps. I'll do a few. My dogs will probably howl, but I'll do it. Oh, let me get rid of that. those exercises, again, I've got a fair amount of water in my horn. I've been practicing today, yay. Those exercises are designed to keep you getting the flow. You got to practice playing strong. You can't expect to not play strong in your practice room, or you're playing to your acoustic environment, which in my case, the practice fort is very small. So if I play that loud in that practice fort, it actually hurts my ears. So I actually put in earplugs when I do that exercise. Out here in a little bit bigger space, it's not as bad, but very important to push that concept, because what happens on a gig? We overblow. And so when we overblow, we're compensating in so many different ways. And that definitely happened to me on Saturday night. It was super frustrating. The first set was atrocious. Which brings me to my next point. If you use a different mouthpiece for that gig, you better start practicing it. And I should know better. I mean, I make mouthpieces. I should know better. But so I put my lead mouthpiece in, and I had been playing it a little bit, small amount, but haven't been practicing on it and not doing enough, like even 20, 30 minutes on that mouthpiece. So how could I expect playing a gig on it? So I play a 5B. That's my normal mouthpiece right now. I actually went to the 5B and played the rest of the gig on it. And yeah, and that was actually much, much better because it was more normal. So if you have different mouthpieces for different jobs, different compression mouthpieces, be sure to practice them, and practice them in the fashion that you're going to use them on the gig. So I didn't know I was playing lead trumpet. The other trumpet players got there before me, and I was the last one there, so I was forced to play first trumpet. So I was just expecting to play my 5B. Well, you got to be prepared for the job, and make sure that you're practicing on the right gear. So that's super, super important. Couple other things that might not seem like a big deal, but make sure you have them in your tool bag when you go on a gig. Stand light. Get a portable stand light and put it in your mute bag, because I didn't bring mine, and I ended up having a hard time reading. And so I was out of position. I was like, the music was down here, and I was like, really like doing this. So all of a sudden I'm out of body alignment. I don't practice like this, but I was playing music like this. How can we expect a good result when we're out of focus? So that's a super important thing for you to remember, to do that as well. Yeah. And one last thing that I didn't bring, I don't know why I didn't bring it. Again, this was all like experience stuff from not playing in 13 months, is that I didn't bring my earplugs. They're sitting right here. I didn't bring them. If I had played with my earplugs, I could have monitored myself a little bit better, and I would have had a much more enjoyable time. So, summarizing this, if you use a different mouthpiece to play that type of music, practice on it. Do some sort of strong, loud, sustained playing every day to get ready for your gig. Make sure you have all the right tools for optimum performance. Use your tuner. I hope this helps. I know it's a quick and a brief mini lesson, but I thought while I was still thinking about it from this past weekend that I'd share some of these tips for you. As always, thanks so much for all you do for our shop. Hit that subscribe button. Stay up to date with us. If you have a suggestion for a future mini lesson, post them in the comments here. Thanks so much, and keep kicking brass. Cheers.